Before we begin this trial, I want to make one thing very clear. The law does not recognize the existence of ghosts. I don't believe in them either. I don't want to hear a lot of malarkey about goblins, spooks, and demons. We're going to stick to the facts in this case. Leave the ghost stories to the kiddies, understood?
Hello, I'm Darren the Magic Ghostbuster. If you enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe, and check out all my Ghostbusters themed magic videos. Now in this video, I'm talking about why people don't believe in ghosts at the beginning of Ghostbusters 2. This is a subject that comes up occasionally on forums and Facebook groups, and some people consider it a plot hole. Me, I don't consider it a plot hole at all. I think it's actually one of the most normal things in the franchise. I'll explain why, and then of course you can disagree or agree with me at the end in the comments. So let's start by taking a look at Ghostbusters 1. The Ghostbusters are seen to be really busy tackling ghosts. So busy in fact they take on an extra team member in Winston's Edmore. But what we have to remember is that New York is a massive city. In 1984, the rough population of New York was just under 16 million people. That is a lot of people. So even being incredibly busy, the Ghostbusters are only a team of 3, later becoming 4. So even being busy, they are not going to be serving 16 million people. They're only going to be serving such a small number of that. So my point is really that that's a lot of people that are not using the Ghostbusters services, so are probably not seeing ghosts. And you know the old saying, seeing is believing. Now that doesn't mean everyone who hasn't seen a ghost doesn't believe, but we do know there are people that don't believe out there, Walter Peck being one of them, who even mentions that there's loads of wild stories in the media.
Frankly, there have been a lot of wild stories in the media.
Now, we don't know what those stories are, but you know what the media's like. There's a good chance there's going to be some people that are pro-Ghostbusters, support them, say ghosts are real, but there's equally going to be some that are going to say the Ghostbusters are frauds. And Peck even mentions that the Ghostbusters use toxic nerve gases to make people believe they're seeing ghosts, and the Ghostbusters turn up with a fake electronic light show.
I am Walter Peck, sir, and I'm prepared to make a full report. These men are consummate snowball artists. They use sense and nerve gases to induce hallucinations. People think they're seeing ghosts, and they call these bozos who conveniently show up to deal with the problem with a fake electronic light show.
I very much doubt Peck is the only person to think that, and it wouldn't surprise me if he even spread that around, and that was a story that appeared in the papers. So my point is, even though the Ghostbusters were really successful and popular by the end of Ghostbusters 1, there's still a lot of people that will not have seen ghosts and probably think they're frauds. But what about the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man incident? I hear you cry. Yes, the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man appeared in New York and was seen by lots and lots of people. Now one thing to remember here is that Ray thought of the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man and he appeared. So he didn't actually appear all over New York, he only appeared in a very small section and was seen by a lot of people, but still a tiny percentage of New York. It was of course recorded as well, but there's even going to be skeptics for that. My point is that a lot of people didn't see Stay Puft and probably think it's made up. And then of course if we add in the stories of people believing toxic nerve gases making people seeing ghosts, how many of these people that actually saw Stay Puft believe they were subjected to these gases and were seeing ghosts as a result of it? So I guess my point is that at the end of Ghostbusters 1, even though they're really successful and popular, my point is there's still going to be a lot of people that have not seen ghosts and probably don't believe in them. Now we move on to Ghostbusters 2, where people say no one believes in ghosts, but is that actually true? See, we don't actually meet many people that make their thoughts on ghosts very clear. We meet Jack Hardemire, who calls the Ghostbusters frauds.
Look, you stay away from the mayor. He's running for governor next fall, and the last thing we need is for him to be associated with two-bit frauds and publicity hounds like you and your friends.
Implying he doesn't believe in ghosts, he thinks Ghostbusters are frauds, they don't exist. We meet Jason.
You know, my dad says you guys are full of crap.
Who's the young boy at the party, who is actually Jason Reitman, the son of director Ivan Reitman, who directed Ghostbusters 1 and 2. Jason is the director of Ghostbusters Afterlife. Now he says, my dad says you guys are full of crap. Now, Ray responds to that by saying some people have trouble believing in the paranormal, to which Jason replies this.
No, he just says you guys are full of crap and that's why you went out of business.
So looking at his reply, he's not actually saying we don't believe in the paranormal, he just thinks Ghostbusters are full of crap, so we don't 100% know his opinion on that. And then of course we meet the judge.
Before we begin this trial, I want to make one thing very clear. The law does not recognize the existence of ghosts. I don't believe in them either. I don't want to hear a lot of malarkey about goblins, spooks, and demons. We're going to stick to the facts in this case. Leave the ghost stories to the kiddies, understood?
So my point is that we don't really meet many people at the beginning of Ghostbusters 2 that we know for sure don't believe in ghosts, and therefore don't know what the wider population of New York think. A bit like we don't know what the wider population of New York think at the end of Ghostbusters 1. I mean, we see the people cheering for them outside the building, but we don't know what the rest of New York think. We don't know how many people think they're frauds, how many people think they're heroes, and the same goes for Ghostbusters 2. Now, I'm going to look at some real-world evidence, which I think is where this really comes together. I know this sounds ridiculous, because I'm talking about a comedy sci-fi film here, not the real world, but I think this will make sense. So, let's look at some real-world tragic events. The first one, COVID-19, which is happening as I record this video. It's been going on for about a year. Now, there's lots of conspiracy theories about it. I could probably do a 10-hour video just about how badly my UK government have dealt with it. Can't speak for yours, but I'm sure you could rant about it as well. But despite all the people that are dying and the evidence that it exists, there's people that just think it's completely made up, doesn't exist. Let's look at a more comical one there, and that's flat earthers. Yes, there are people that believe the Earth is flat, despite all the evidence, the photos, just the logic. You can even look up in telescopes to see other planets that are all round. Why would Earth be the only one that's flat? Now, I like to approach conspiracy theories by asking why. Why would they lie about this? Why would they lie about the Earth being flat or round? I can't think of a single reason why they would lie about it. I mean, what difference would it really make if it was round or flat to us? I mean, we carry on with our lives regardless. But anyway, let's go back to a tragic one now, and that is the Holocaust. Just so many people died during the Holocaust, and yet there are people that think it's all completely made up. And again, I go back to why. Why would they lie about it? I think it was pretty well established that Hitler was a prick back then, so I don't think they need to lie about the Holocaust to make him look worse. He's a prick with or without it, basically. Now we're going to look at one more tragic one and compare it to something in the film, which feels a bit weird, I must admit, because we're talking about real life and fake. But go with me here. Sorry if this brings up things for you, but 9/11, the terror attacks, September 11th. And comparing it to the Stay Puft incident. Now, obviously, with 9/11, there's so many conspiracy theories about it. If you type in 9/11 conspiracy theories, you could probably spend 5 years just watching different videos and conspiracy theories. But the one I'm specifically looking at is the one that says the planes didn't even exist. And it sounds ridiculous, but despite the thousands of people that witnessed it, and the video footage, people say the planes didn't exist. There was a bomb in the tower and they CGI'd the planes on after. Now, if we just look at the Stay Puft incident for a second, witnessed by thousands of people, caught on video, and it makes sense, really, that if people are going to deny these planes existed on a real life tragic incident, it makes perfect sense that people are going to see footage of this Stay Puft walking down the street at a time when cameras weren't as good and say, well, that's clearly made up. So my point, and again, sorry, I know it's a bit weird comparing it to real life, but it makes sense that people would just deny this stuff. You know, when you look at real life, it makes complete sense. And that is why I said it. It actually seems to me like one of the most logical things in the film. And it shouldn't, really, because I find it crazy that people deny this stuff, but people do. And that is why I think it just makes sense. It's not a plot hole, basically. It's one of these weird things where I feel like it should be a plot hole, because there shouldn't be people denying the Holocaust, thinking the Earth's flat, denying the planes September 11th, denying COVID-19. But of course people do, therefore they would deny the existence of ghosts to the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, despite all the evidence. And it's a weird one, but anyway, I don't think it's a plot hole. I hope I've explained why I think that adequately. And do you agree with me or disagree with me? Yeah, I mean, we're all individual, and you are completely entitled to disagree with me on, you know, think I'm silly and don't know what I'm talking about. That's totally up to you. But I would love to hear your comments, and maybe you have a different perspective on it. I'd love to read it. I'm always open to hearing different opinions and viewpoints, and you never know, maybe you could change my mind. But anyway, let me know what you think. Do you agree with me, disagree with me? Have I changed your mind, perhaps? I would love to know that. But anyway, thanks for watching. I do really appreciate it, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Until then, keep on busting.